Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey, buckle up, Buttercup. We got a busy next 15 minutes or so as we bring you up to speed on what will be developing blizzard / ice storm / sleet storm / just overall winter storm here for Oklahoma. So it's going to be a mess. If you had some New Year's Eve plans, you know, it's fitting. 2020, you shouldn't have made them anyway. You know what happened the last time we had a New Year's Eve? We started with 2020. We're going to end it with 2020, especially when it comes to the weather. So thanks for joining me. Make sure you like and share this page. Help me make it more organic. Facebook took away the organic ability for me to reach you guys a long time ago. They want me to pay for everything to promote and boost and stuff, and I'm just not going to do that. And depending on you guys to like and share these live videos and leave comments and stuff, and that triggers the automatic algorithms to kind of do the work for us at getting the word out. So thanks for that. As always, I always get a big round of you guys that join in when it comes time to big winter storms. So the watching count just goes through the roof into the couple of thousands during the live shot. So let's take a look at what we've got. As I said, it's going to be a lot of data I'm going to cram at you, but there's a lot to talk about. By the way, I'm seeing all the stars, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for playing the stars game and sending me a few of those here tonight as a token of your appreciation. I love those stars. That's on the main Facebook page. You guys on YouTube, of course, won't see that. You'll have super chats on yours, and but if you want to do the stars, you can go over there. Okay, so let's start out with the fact that we have a winter storm watch already in effect here across northwest Oklahoma, just north of Enid, out toward Watonga, Clinton, and Elk City. Now, this is the early stages. It will shift to the east, and it will likely run from Ponca City to Stillwater to Oklahoma City, back down toward, let's call it Duncan, and then toward the Red River down towards Shaw Falls. So this will be expanded southward and eastward from the National Weather Service as they analyze the new data and we get closer to the event. So just kind of throwing that at you right now. Now, we talked about where the upper level low was coming and going. That was the key element in who's going to see when and what, right? All right, so as I put this in motion for you, show you how the models have developed it. Hasn't been a huge change in the overall pattern. The low did dig a little bit more into Mexico as far as what the forecast is before it lifts northward. So because of that, there's no sounding network in that area, which means there's still plenty of wiggle room. This is not going to be set in stone when I show you the fine lines. You know how you draw a line in the sand and you just don't cross it? We're going to do that tonight. Show you where the rain's on one side, freezing rain, sleet, and snow on the other. But that line is not drawn in the sand. It's a floating line. It can go either way because we don't have the data to analyze this storm system like we're really going to need until the last minute, which is unfortunate. But when it comes across Mexico, there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, so meanwhile, the latest trend has been to close off into a nice strong upper level low, and we're using the NAM model here, and it's going to come across the Dallas-Fort Worth area and then kind of track into south central, southeast Oklahoma, move up toward Tulsa as we head into Thursday and night and a Friday. So that is the track of the upper level low. So you can see how it goes through there through Friday morning. It's exiting into southwest Missouri at that point in time. Now, put this on the map for you again, the low like this. And when you're looking for snow and winter precipitation, you're kind of splitting the low in half, right? So on this side is where all your trouble is, and on this side is where it's just a cold rain and sometimes some flooding if it's a lot of rain, because there will be a lot of moisture to work with this system. All right, so that's the latest look upstairs. Now let's take a look downstairs. So matter of fact, let me show you downstairs right now. The cold front is marching through the state, so it's running along this line of storms that stretches here in northern Oklahoma past Enid on down here east of Elk City, northwest of Hobart. Now, these storms are not severe, but they are packing a little bit of lightning with them, some rumbles of thunder. So there's going to be a little bit of that with you. It's almost going to seem like a late fall, stormy event, or maybe even a spring-like event. But this line of storms will continue to move slowly to the south and east, along with that cold front. A few showers out here to the east. Okay, so that's what's currently happening. Now let's take it forward in time. So we'll take a look at the model data here. So that rain will move through overnight, through midnight, into the early morning hours, and look what starts to happen. So remember how I told you Wednesday could be a sleeper event? Because a lot of the models aren't very excited about Wednesday at all. And I'm a little leery of that. And so I've been leaving this out there. This is a possibility. And the new NAM model that comes in agrees with me that the possibility is still there for a lot more snow out of this event. And even some of the CAM models are also suggesting that. So this is 9 o'clock in the morning. It's got snow from Tulsa down Oklahoma City, back down just north of Lawton into southwest Oklahoma. And when you look at the forecast sounding for this point in time, according to the model, it's close. Again, there's that blue line right here. The sounding is just to the left of that, the profile, temperature, and dew point, which means it's all snow. At the very surface, though, it has 33 degrees. Now, from the past, you can get snow when it's 33, 34 degrees. So that would mean a wet, sticking snow. This is what the model is suggesting is going to happen for our Wednesday. So do not be surprised if we get a few inches of snow here during the morning hours into the early afternoon on Wednesday. So we go through time. That snow continues through lunchtime, and then it wraps up really quickly at 3 o'clock. The lift shuts down. The frontogenesis that's helping to cause that dissipates, and then we dry things out and quiet things down. Now, as we go through time, the secondary round from the second part of the storm system will start to move in from the south. So this is going to be Thursday afternoon. So you do see Thursday afternoon the storm system starting to approach. So now we're going to get this rain developing south of us moving north. The problem is this is not rain. This is freezing rain and probably a little bit of sleet. Now that means ice for you folks for the translation. Now that ice moves into central Oklahoma by our evening hours on Thursday. That big heavy band moves up to the north and to the west. Now out here in western Oklahoma, it's going to be a mixed bag of everything. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Whereas where it's mostly a cold rain / freezing rain here in central Oklahoma, as temperatures teeter right around 32 degrees. Going into time, this is by 3 o'clock Friday morning. The storm's changing over mostly to all snow, and then it kind of moves and exits the state for Friday afternoon. A few flurries flying around, and that's about it. And then there will be some light dusting of snow that could occur, like flurries or very light dusting. That'll move in Friday night and Saturday across this part of the state. It won't, compared to what we're going to see, it'll be nothing. You barely even notice it, but just throwing it out there that don't be surprised if you see some flakes of snow late Friday night and Saturday morning. Okay, so that is how the overall picture looks. When you look at the temperatures, and this is the critical part, this is the frustrating part as well. So we're going to go through time here as well. I'll step you through it. All right, so as we head into tomorrow morning, by the way. So today was actually a mild day. I hope you enjoyed it. Here's 6 a.m. Wednesday, 34 degrees in Oklahoma City, 37 in Tulsa. At 9 o'clock in the morning, we're still in the low 30s. There's lunchtime, we're still low 30s. Even in the afternoon, we really don't warm up much. We stay on the cold side. Matter of fact, it gets colder toward tomorrow evening. And as we head into Thursday morning, we're 28 degrees. So we're starting off the day very, very cold. We should rebound to about 30 in the afternoon with, it'll be cloudy, but there will be some solar radiation that does come through. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're still having around 30. By then, some light precipitation just start to develop, especially as we head into the evening hours. You can see how we're 32 to 31 to 32 degrees. Again, where you see these temperatures in this range, that's where you have to worry about the sleet and the freezing rain. Of course, that will lead to some road problems and some power outages. Here's Thursday night at 9 o'clock. And at midnight, see, we're not really changing much on the temperatures, but the good news is it's right at 32. So, for example, let's say we're talking about freezing rain. Well, freezing rain is just rain that literally flash freezes on contact to elevated surfaces. That's what causes the power outages. If you're 32.1 degrees, that's liquid, no problem. It's 32.0, right, when it's actually freezing. Now, and if it's 31.9, well, 31.8, that's definitely freezing. So that's how close a call this is going to be here in central Oklahoma. So you have to err on the side of caution and go with the freezing rain event. And out here in western Oklahoma, you got upper 20s. So again, no question for winter precipitation out there. Friday in the morning through lunchtime, we still below freezing looks like, and for Friday afternoon, we may get a degree above freezing. Otherwise, we're still pretty much holding it to the low 30s for Friday night into Saturday morning. All right, so that's a look at how temperatures ought to go. Then we're talking about the wind. You want a blizzard? I've got your blizzard right here. So let's take a look here. We'll start you off at Thursday, 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's do that. There's 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. So you can see we're already getting winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour. As we head into Thursday afternoon, those winds are picking up, and look where that yellow pops in on the map. By 9 o'clock, we've got winds gusting up to 48 to 50 miles per hour here in central Oklahoma, all the way down toward Lawton, close to 60 miles per hour, blowing snow, blowing sleet, blowing freezing rain. It's going to be a nasty storm. Winds continue up north. They continue out west. It's going to be very windy Thursday night into the Friday morning timeline. Here at 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday, winds around 50 miles an hour. So like I said, this is a big winter storm. Still the wind cranking at 6 a.m. Friday morning out here in western Oklahoma. So that means a lot of blowing snow, 0 to low visibility. And then it kind of starts to wind down for Friday afternoon. We're not only gusting up to 30, and then we drop off really quickly Friday evening. So that kind of gives you an idea of how we're going to have blizzard-like conditions across the state. The visibility will suffer, of course, as a result. I thought I just put this on here on the map. The purple, you see the light purple, basically 0 visibility. So there's 0.2 miles, for example. So when you get those winds that gust up quite high, that's what's going to really help to reduce that visibility. Okay, so that's kind of look at the big picture of things. Rainfall amounts will be quite significant. With this first round through Wednesday night, so the rainfall for tonight through the end Wednesday night. Now some of this again will be some snow, but this would be the total accumulation, so about an inch or so across most of the area. Then as you look at the snowfall amounts, this is where I was talking about things could be pretty interesting. So the models are cranking out about 2 inches of snow for Wednesday here in central Oklahoma up toward Tulsa, about an inch. Now other models actually shift this snow line to about this area here. So it all depends on the frontal genesis of where that boundary sets up, and that is where you're going to get the heavier, thin round of snow. So that will be on our Wednesday. Okay, then I already talked about the winds out of the north. Let's see, I talked about the gusts. So here's a first stab at what potential ice accumulations can be like for this event. And this takes into account the temperatures wavering around 32. It takes into account, of course, the warm ground temperatures and then some of the other physics involved. And so it's a best guess estimate, and it's looking at about 0.3 to about half an inch here in central Oklahoma. So about a half an inch of ice is significant, and it is enough to cause power outages. And that kind of trend continues pretty much all over central, northern, even western Oklahoma. And some areas, of course, won't be hit as hard, but other areas will. So that is the issue with the ice accumulation and also the sleet. The sleet is more of a factor with roadways like bridges and overpasses, and of course the ice is more of a power issue for the freezing rain, but it's all bad anyway in general. Now, when we talk about the probability of snow, let's take a look at the European ensemble. When you talk about over 3 inches of snow, it's up to around 80% rain out here in western Oklahoma. So its confidence level, as I've been showing you each night here, has been going up. So here's a look at a 1 inch of snow. So in other words, 100%. So the model thinks inch of snow is not even worth talking about. It's a guaranteed deal. Now, when you look at the control run, in other words, this is just the one pick of the European model, 2 things you'll notice. The trend is to keep the heavy snow line splitting the Oklahoma City metro in half, and then ramping up once you get west of town, and then just dumping like crazy out here in western Oklahoma. Now you can see it's just a dusting here and then down in southern Oklahoma because of those warmer temperatures coming in from the south. So now this is the European model, which so far has been the trendsetter of shifting things west. Not all models have gone with that idea, though. Matter of fact, most of them are either central or east with the track. But here's a look at the ensemble's perturbations through the 50 runs. They all think snow, not even a question. And then when you average them all together, it's like 2 inches here in Oklahoma City. And if you were to flatten this out on a on a plain view, again, 2 inches in Oklahoma City, 3 inches on the west side, and then those higher amounts out here. This is a very conservative number. In other words, there's potential to go back to that control run, which if I show you that again, where was it? Is it this one? Almost near a foot of snow possibility out there in parts of western Oklahoma. But a quickly deepening 500 millibar low, which seems to be occurring in the model data, is definitely a conducive issue for that. Okay, so southeast Oklahoma, a lot of rain. Over this entire event, you're looking at about 3 inches of rain here in southeast Oklahoma. So a lot of rainfall down in that area. All right, let me look at a couple of these other ensemble runs just to show you. This little black line is up around, this is a high-res short-term model. It's about 3.5 inches here in Oklahoma City when all is said and done for snowfall. So these are kind of all over the place, which isn't unusual. This one's about 1.5 inches, and this takes into account a bunch of other models. But there's such a wide range. You have a bunch of clusters all in here, and then you get above this point, you got a bunch of clusters up in here that goes all the way to 5 inches. So the models still don't have a clue as to what how much snow will actually fall because they're too varied. The American model, its ensemble runs is about solid 2 inches. So these are all in the low end conservative because it depends on where that exact track is of the upper level low. Now, the model data that just came in, let me do this. This was 57 hours. So let me click that. And then we're going to compare the American model that came in the NAM version with the Canadian model for the difference in the track. So there's the NAM and there's the Canadian. They are almost identical in the track, right? Well, here's the deal. The NAM is shifting east to match the Canadian. And the Canadian has been east this whole time. The European has been out west. And the two of them usually agree when we get closer to an event, and they're polar opposites. Usually when I see the two agree, I'm very confident. When they're polar opposites, it frustrates me because I have to pick one or the other. And the European always does so well, but the Canadian just might be scoring the coup. So let's take a look at the difference in the output. We'll look at the 10 to 1 snow ratio for this, for example. So this is the NAM model, and then this is the Canadian model. So there's not a whole lot of difference in the track. So the track is a hard line in the sand in Oklahoma County. You go out to El Reno, you go from feast to famine, an inch out east, and you got 11 inches in El Reno in Canadian County. I mean, that's stupid, but that's what happens when you draw that line in the sand. Remember, that upper level low means business, and you get to a certain level. Just west of that, it's crazy amounts of snow. You get east of it, it's just cold rain. And finding out where that exact line is going to be, not even possible. The best thing we can do is do our best estimated scientific guess based off of all the data, and then it's like Vegas, roll the dice, see what happens. The high-res version of the NAM, same idea. It clusters it out west, and that's kind of similar to the European model. But the other issue here is the ice accumulation. Let's take a look at that. So the NAM models we showed you earlier has a pretty big swath, whereas the Canadian, did it not come in yet? By the way, this is a high-res version of the NAM as well. It's up to, there's got pockets of 3/4 of an inch of rain. There's 0.81 here in Edmond, Oklahoma County. So it goes to show you that the ice is pretty nasty. By the way, if you guys are watching Dallas-Fort Worth, the way the track has been is just to your west. And you may get only a cold rain in DFW. I mean, remember when I started this broadcast, all's not lost because there's no sounding network that's going to really sample this storm. So the track can still move around, but right now it's just to your west. That can still change. Don't lose hope, but the trend has been to keep it out just to your west. That has not changed yet. Okay, so let's do the ice accumulations. We'll do just regular QPF to see if that came in. Okay, at least that one came in. All right, so this won't take into account some of the other factors that would lower the amounts, but at least give us the trend. So for the Canadian, the highest accumulations, and let me draw this on here for you because this is hard to see. Some of these maps will give me a local view, and then others a a bigger, broad statewide view. So here's 35 that runs down like this, and then here's 44 that runs up like this. So this is the Canadian model, and why did I just do that? Here in Tuttle. Okay, don't click that. Do that again. All right, so let's just draw this loose. Let's just do something like this. All right, so again, 44 up here, and then 35. Boy, drawing with a mouse is fun. Down here. Okay, so there's your intersection, and that is for the Canadian model. So you can see how where the juice of the highest ice amounts and accumulations reside. Now, if you go to the NAM model, you see how that changes quite a bit. It's just the lighter accumulations in this zone, and even pockets of heavier out west mixed in with that snow. So the difference is in the track, and the difference is in the physics. I actually am leaning more toward the Canadian. It looks more plausible to me, because once you got here in western parts of Oklahoma, it should be cold enough for mostly snow, versus the NAM, which is going to have a lot of freezing rain and sleet mixed in. You usually can't get all three for an entire event that far removed, distance-wise from the low. So I'm going to go with the Canadian overall. Now these amounts will drop, because right now it says about an inch of ice here around central Oklahoma. So those amounts will come down with the newer version of this data, which, let me see if it's coming yet. Nope, it hasn't come in yet. Okay, so that's the issue there. So I'm looking for a mess is what I'm looking for. And of course, we're going to update this again tomorrow evening around 9:15. It's about the time I get the last look at the data. The Canadian finishes coming in, and I already looked at the other model data and analyzed it to pieces. So this is a summary. If you're joining in late, you're late to the party, you missed all the action. We had a lot to talk about, because this is a heck of a winter storm. So bottom line, tomorrow morning, rain that's coming in tonight, which will be heavy at times for some of you, about an inch or so. It will transfer into snow, and probably even a little bit of touch of sleet mixed in, maybe even a brief little round of freezing rain, just a hair. So it should be kind of a quick transition, a very thin line transition along that boundaries that moves south and east and kind of stalls out over the I-44 corridor, and then that changes over to snow for the morning hours into early afternoon. That kind of vaporizes. The potential is there for snowy amounts from, at the very least, half an inch to, you could see as much as 3 inches or 4 inches in some heavy banding. So that is for Wednesday. Then everything quiets down. And then Thursday, we're mostly quiet until the afternoon. We're going to have light rain move in from southern Oklahoma, coming out of Texas. That light rain will actually turn into freezing rain as it moves north into the state. So by late afternoon here in central Oklahoma, we're going to have freezing rain moving through, and that'll translate into western and southwest Oklahoma as well. And then further north and west you go from central Oklahoma, the thicker the cold air, the deeper it is. So the more likelihoods, even though there might be a little sleet mixed in early, it should quickly transition overall mostly snow, which will lead to some extreme snow amount totals up to about a foot is possible. Then in central Oklahoma, it's a mixed bag of nonsense. So it's freezing rain, and it's sleet, and it's snow at various times of the event. Temperatures fluctuating anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees in the model data. But a lot of times they overestimate that, and we end up being like 31. That's the critical point for elevated things to freeze over. So if we get like a half inch of freezing rain, for example, as indicated in the data we just showed you, and then we've got some power line problems once again. Of course, the trees have already had their damage done to them, and anything near a power line tree related, that's already been taken out of the equation. So overall, we should have less power issues due to that fact. Unfortunately, Thursday evening and a Thursday night, winds will be cranking up to 50 miles an hour. That alone can do some power outage problems. And that also means that ice accumulations on the lines don't have to be an inch accumulation or 3/4 or half inch. It could be 1/4 of an inch and have winds of 50 miles an hour. That's going to cause havoc with power issues. So I do not expect this to be a fun event when it comes to, how we live, breathe, work, play, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a mess. And then by Friday midday, it's mostly out of the state. And then it's moved off to Kansas and Missouri continually. So if you've watched me from Kansas, Missouri, yes. Answer is yes. All of it. Yes, you're getting it all. and significant amounts as well. So your travel will be impeded and affected. I think I combined two words in my head that don't make sense. Anyway, your issues will be affected. So I'm trying to think. That's the broad brush. That's the big picture. A few flurries Friday night, Saturday morning, moving through, no big deal there. And then it's quiet for a while. This is the 1-2 punch though. Wednesday and then Thursday night, Thursday evening, I really should say. Thursday evening through really Friday morning is the bulk of the activity for the body of the state. I think that's it. All right, so let me go through, check out a couple of your comments. If you're watching me on Twitter and Periscope, you'll need to retype those in because I'm just now loading up that feed, and then I'll be able to read what you have to say. YouTube, you guys have been chatty Cathy's, which is awesome. Skimming through here. Deanna's not late for once. That's great. Wes, sorry, buddy. You're going to have to go somewhere else, get away from the ice and snow. I see you, Kilgore from Pink. Let's see. Trim Farm from Tulsa's in the house, and Laura from Hefner's here. Good to see you. My advice to you again is to have backup plans for your New Year's Eve celebrations, unfortunately. Let me go to the patron page. And so New Year's Day might be a good day to stay inside and watch some, Netflix and chill. But on the PG version related, because you're probably with kids in the house. Or you send them outside to play in the snow. I guess maybe that would work. Anyway, going off on a tangent. So I'm a patrons. I see you, Karen. Yes, you are on time. Beverly's got lots of snowmen painted. Jariah, pump up back to you. Sarah, you're welcome. Curtis is ready for the blizzard. Bo's like, great, more ice. I hear you. That's not what I want. Dion, you're welcome. Glad you enjoy the overview and why you're a patron. I appreciate you being a patron. I appreciate all you guys supporting me, however you do it. Whether you're joining as a patron or the Facebook fan subscriptions, or you're just sharing the post, you're sending me some stars, however you want to do it, it's up to you. Larry, right? Jody was like, what does that stand for? I just chuckled. Remember, she's Canadian. And I said, don't worry. I said, those that know will know. And those that don't, they won't. But the ones that do will be like, Tuttle's a sick guy. I'm like, yes, I am. But also a Glock. I like them both. All right, so let's go to the main page. I'm going to load up your comments too. So keep in mind on this one, I can only go back about, I think it's 20.
I'll
Pop that up. And mute. Alright, give me a second to load. By the way, stars. You guys are all over it. Jesse, Karen, I thank you. Beverly, I see you. I'm just going to scroll through here real quick on my phone. Harry, Cody, Eric, Tasha, Misty, Gerard. All right, Mr. Cleburne. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get you some snow in Dallas. Terry, Matthew, awesome. Jenna, thank you for the stars. Lisa, Kayla a couple times. Rachel, Teresa, all sent me a coffee cup. 500 stars. Shane, I hear you, brother. Carrie, Rachel, Jessica, Carrie, Rachel, my goodness, you guys are all over. So thank you for sending those stars for me here tonight. Elise, Rita, Patty, G, good grief, a lot of you. Dawn, Ashley, y'all are awesome. Y'all rock, so I do appreciate that. Okay, questions real quick here on the main page. Let me scroll through. Let's see here. You're welcome, Paula. So the SIG stands for this. You'll have to Google that. Tulsa wants some action. Tulsa needs a little action, not as much as they could have because everything's just to the west, but you should get at least a little snow for Wednesday. That's going to be most of your issue, and then a little bit of light winter mix for the freezing rain and sleet, if you believe the Canadian model, for Thursday night. So you're not quite out of the woods, but you're on the borderline. It could go either way. Very close call. Way closer of a call than Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, we're definitely getting it. It's just the amounts are in question based off of which track is more likely, and either way, it doesn't look good. I mean, we're just splitting hairs. Matthew, that was the NAM model that had the wind speeds up around 50 miles an hour. Mike wants to know, why is the European model much more rebake? I don't know what rebake means. I'd have to Google that. But it's usually a better model to use. Right, Sharon, good idea. Stay home, watch TV. If you still have power, at 50 mile per hour winds and ice. So that'd be a good idea to charge all your appliances and phones and get all that stuff together. Get your generator fuel going. I know a lot of you procrastinate on getting a generator after the ice storm last time. Now might be the time to rush the hardware stores and Harbor Freight and Home Depot and all of them and just grab what you can. Now, that said, things can always end up on a more positive note. The power outage is a tricky thing, and the issue not only is just the power outage, is how long it takes to get them fixed. That's the other problem. If it's more sporadic, then they're faster repaired. When it's something like we had today, which was a total mess. Now this is not that, by the way. That's a whole different animal. That was a widespread 1 to 1.5 inch pure ice event. Those come along, once every, seems like 50 to 100 years. This is a different animal than that. It's not that much, but it has a wind component in it. So it's just going to be nasty. So Taylor knows what's up. What about Southeast Texas? Snowing? Oh my goodness! In Southeast Texas, Crystal. Now I will tell you, it does snow in the Houston area every now and then. Believe it or not, it has happened. Matter of fact, it happened pretty recently, if I remember right. So it can happen down there. Michael, you like that, do you? You and Dana. Am I late, Candace? Oh, good grief, Candace. Oh, honey. You're so late, we're all going to bed. Okay, Evan, I just got notified. By what and by who? All right, so let me tell you something, Evan. You gotta sign up to get notified on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Tap the bell, YouTube, and then when I go live on Facebook and Twitter, because the algorithms will not always tell you. First off, number two, they won't even always tell you on time either. Why, I don't know. It irritates the fire out of me. My guess maybe is I'd have to pay some kind of extra amount of money or something, because when I signed up for a few accounts that go live, and when like Life Church, for example, goes live, I get it all the time, multiple times. Every time they go live, it's ding, 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 ding. I'm like, how can we do that from me? So I don't know what's the deal on the accounts. I don't know if it's special accounts, you get special treatment, you get X number of followers, or you pay X number of dollars. I'm not sure. I just know it's frustrating. So if you split it out, or spread it out, you're more likely to get notified that way. Plus, if you join my Patreon group, you can do that. It's my private closed group Facebook page for all my hardcore weather fans by joining Patreon or the Facebook fan subscriptions. You get in that group, and that group sends out live notifications, and that's supposed to be better than the others. So I'm trying to get out that way to get as much as I can to reach everybody on time. Okay. Dallas. If you guys, if there's still a couple of Dallas peeps, let me jump back on the map and let's take a look at Dallas real quick in Tulsa. And then I'm going to turn you loose because it's almost 10 o'clock and I got a movie to finish watching from last night. Never finished it. Just ran out of time. I need a way to stop time. Seriously. If I can find a way to stop time, I am on it. It's on like Donkey Kong. All right, let me go to... Ooh, this is new. 24 hours. Okay. You don't say. Okay. So, I'm going to do something here. Some new model data has come in, just so you guys are aware of, and That's what I thought. Okay. This is a good sign. Remember I told you Wednesday was a sleeper event? This is the American model, the new version. This is the new beta version being introduced, okay, this year. So this is that model from this morning. It just shows a little hint of snow, a random little bullseye here in eastern Oklahoma County, dusting up north, not much, right? The midday run goes, all right, well, we'll move that bullseye around, but hey, at least we paint a little bit more snow on the map, right? Now we're going to go to the one that just came out. Now look at this. All of a sudden you see a trend develop. That trend is boxing it in just southwest of 44, and it comes up like this along that frontal zone. Now, it's got some holes in the data, but ignore that. That's just a resolution issue. But the take home from that would be, for example, this little guy here in the middle says 7 inches of snow in, looks like Blanchard and Newcastle. So that's just an example of how sometimes the models won't catch on till late, and you have to be early at taking a stab and looking at a trend. So this is good news. It gives me confidence that I'm on the right track with the surprise Wednesday. So it still has to happen, but at least I'm getting more agreement in the data, which makes me feel a little better with all that. Okay, that model's still coming in. We can check back on it later, but I want to look at Tulsa, and let's go back to the NIM model for that. And let's see here. And we'll go the full end here. So make sure it's right time. All right, so you notice a couple inches here in Tulsa, and that's for the Wednesday snow event. So you're not expected to have any snow after Wednesday. So with that next big system on Thursday night, Friday, you're not expected to see any significant snow. You can see here north of Oklahoma City, you don't have to go too far north. The twofer, in other words, the Wednesday plus the Thursday night, Friday event, you're up around 17 inches of snow. That is stupid. This is around Kingfisher and just north and west of Oklahoma City. My goodness, Enid's almost at a foot. Lawton even, you guys are in the bullseye down there. So this is a crazy amount of snowfall. That's on a 10-to-1 ratio. If we take the Kuchera version of this, it's a lot less because it takes into account ground temps, surface temps, melting, and it lowers those numbers down to an even 14 inches, just a pathetic 14 inches around Kingfisher, northwest Oklahoma City. And then Enid, you're barely even at 9. I mean, what kind of event is that, right? So even though it trims it back some, it's still significant. Okay, so here's the look at that ice as well, as we mentioned, the freezing rain. And the NAM has a little bit more widespread here. Tulsa is statute about 1/10 of an inch. And remember, this comes in that Thursday night, Friday morning time frame. So probably enough to get maybe some bridges and overpasses a little slippery, but that's about it. So it's not a huge event for you. But as long as it stays light like this, you won't have much of an issue with any power problems, knock on wood. Now, we talked also earlier this evening about the... why is that? Let's say 12 hours. Hold on. That already came in. Why did they reset it? That's so strange. Hold on a second here. Huh. Guess they had a little reboot action. Well, that's too bad. Alright, I was going to show you the Canadian model for that aspect, but it got restarted somehow, some reason, some why. I don't know. Alright, so anyway, whatever. Let's go back to the American model. It's now at 54 hours out. So let's see what it's done here. So this is analyzing this on the fly. And I'm going to have to do a compare loop. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's do this one. Okay, so that's the one currently. This is the prior run, and the prior run, and the prior run. Very consistent. Has not wavered. But it has gone up in amount, so about a ½ inch of ice in Canadian County and north up to Enid, about ½ inch or more of ice. So it has not wavered in its positioning of the sleet and freezing rain. So it's staying pretty consistent. You like to see consistency, but you can see how close that is. That's Stillwater, going right through Stillwater and right through Oklahoma Metro. So the west side of town gets the ice and the east side of cold rain. This dips down just north of Lawton. where it's a cold rain in Lawton, but north of you, you get the ice. So that's the frustrating part of the forecast when you're trying to focus on certain areas. This just the resolution isn't there to get that specific. But regardless, let's see. Some of the newer data comes in by Friday morning. Enid, you're up to about 7/10. So let's see what it does with the snow. 10-1. So it's got about 2 inches on the east side of town, and it's got about 7 inches on the west side of town. And up here around Enid, about a foot of snow. So Dallas, Fort Worth, remember I told you we're going to look at you guys? It's still the trend. It's just west of town. Do the Kutra. That's Nyan. Okay. All right. So doesn't really tell me anything new. It doesn't change anything. So just something I was looking at while you guys are hanging with me, because meteorologists, man, when it comes time to data, we just like, we're doing this. And we're like, give me more, and it's just mouse click, mouse click, mouse click. So anyway, I was just wanting to talk about the Dallas and Tulsa area. I did that, and then I got sidetracked by a squirrel. Listen, I got to get out of here. It is after 10 o'clock. You can go watch the boys dancing on TV if you'd like. I'm sure they have some gloom and doom to show you for about half an hour if you're interested. Me personally, I see enough gloom and doom on a daily basis out there every time I open up my social media. I really don't need to see a 30 minutes on local television newscast. But that's just me personally. I just gave you gloom and doom when it came to the weather, so that should be enough gloom and doom for one night. All right, I'll tell you what, we'll do this again tomorrow. I'll probably do a live around lunchtime, so maybe about 11:30 to 12, somewhere in that round. We'll see how things look on that Wednesday morning. We'll see if we're in snow by that point, but it hasn't transferred over. We'll see where that line is, and then we'll see how the models are better sampled for our Thursday night, Friday event, and we'll see if we need to make any adjustments. So appreciate you guys' time tonight. Have a good one. We'll talk soon. Take care.